Oh, that was loud. That was really okay. Howdy, howdy. Before we get started, while we're waiting on some people, giving other people a chance to show up, I looked on the MLS today, just so y'all know, just out of curiosity. And right now, for the month of December, the average sales price for houses that have sold in our MLS, so Norman, Moore, all from actually from Purcell all the way up to Guthrie, and from El Reno over to Shawnee, Seminole area, the average sales price is $210,000, $245,000. Just a little bit of interesting info for you guys. As soon as I don't, someone's going to call. Does anybody need estimated cost of buyer sheets? This little cheat sheets that I had for VA. We got one for a VA loan and an FHA loan. And a conventional. So.
Did you get those out last week?
Okay, perfect. And one more copy. Just so you guys know, in case you didn't remember, anytime you write an offer or you get under contract with someone, or you write an offer and they counter off, the seller's counter offer or whatever, you're supposed to do one of these buyer estimate sheets based on that offer, whatever the offer is. That way they can make, basically that way they can make an educated decision. And the same thing goes for listing. If you have a listing, if you get an offer, even if it's a craptastic offer, you have to do a seller net sheet based on that offer, whatever that offer is.
That's prior
Prior to them deciding. And if they accept it, Bob requires them to sign the estimate sheet based on the offer that they are accepting. Okay, so who's going to be drawing any cards for the poker hands? Bianca? You drawing any cards for poker?
I'll talk.
No.
Eventually be a.
Well, it's 10 holiday themed pot buys.
Okay.
Oh, okay, I totally forgot.
So it's hold an open house, you buyer under contract, take a listing, attended or participated in script practice. So if script, Stephanie's doing script practice at noon today, there's a good way for you to get at least one card.
Okay, well, we did that last week, didn't we?
Yes,
Okay.
and it was last week. Yeah, that was after December 1st. So yes, you'll get a card.
Okay.
Let me grab it. So again, whoever has the best 5-card poker hand is $100. Okay. All right, you got a 4 of clubs. That could be a good thing.
So on the holiday theme, like little, I guess with your business card on it, where are like the best places to do those at?
So the Popeyes,
Yeah.
the Popeyes is going to be for your sphere of influence.
Okay.
Or I mean, it could be a business that you're wanting to build a relationship with.
Okay.
So if you have an insurance agent or a favorite mortgage company or something along those lines, an attorney, could be a divorce attorney, whatever. Estate attorneys, kind of whatever. It would be, this 10 Popeyes is whatever, it could be a candy cane, it
Right.
could be whatever, but with your card attached and just kind of a little gift form.
So 10 a week or like just every 10 you get?
Just every 10 you get a card.
Okay.
So if you do 20 this week, you'll get 2 cards next week.
Okay.
Kind of whatever. And so-
Play?
do what?
I said, I want to play. How long are we going to do this?
This is until the end of the month.
Okay.
It is poker hands.
Okay.
Best poker hand wins, and here's what you got to do to get a card. Hold an open house, get a buyer into contract, take a listing, attend script practice, or 10 holiday themed pop buys.
Okay.
And for every one of these, you get a check mark, you get to draw a card, and at the end of the month, best 5-card poker hand wins. And it's $100 cash.
Got it.
I'm gonna shadow an open house this weekend. Is that the same?
Yeah, that would count.
Okay.
Absolutely. We're gonna ask you guys to keep track of your cards.
Okay.
I've written it down just in case. I kind of want to take that out of the mix so nobody else ends up with the 4 clubs.
Right.
Although they could, because we have
Several
multiple
decks,
decks.
yeah.
Because it could be, you could have 10 cards and he could end up with 15 cards,
Right, right.
So we wanted to make sure that we have enough cards for everyone to be able to draw.
Okay.
We got the wife and kids doing Christmas candy this weekend,
There you go.
so that's how I'm gonna start on next week.
Right.
Oh,
right.
that's
That seems
a-
like the easiest one to do.
Yes.
They love to make Christmas candy, but we don't want to eat it.
What's that?
You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
We don't want to put on no pounds, but she
Right.
doesn't make it, so they're gonna.
What's that stuff called? That's basically the party mix, but it's with
Puppy chow.
puppy chow.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of people
Oh,
make that around
She
holidays.
does that,
That-
fudge and, whatever those butterscotch, rice, crispy treat stuff in them, it's like a ball, like they look nasty, like they're, whatever they are.
You made it sound so appetizing.
So they're gonna make candy, and then, like, I'm gonna go to people I know,
Okay, yeah.
I don't really wanna give, some people are weird about stuff you made.
Right.
I won't take that to strangers, but I'll take it to people.
Right. Although I may take a Rice Krispies treat from a stranger. It's one of those, if I'm gonna die, that's probably how it's gonna happen. Somebody poisoned me. Paige, do you have any check marks for the poker hands?
I don't think so.
Were you at you were at script practice last week?
Oh, it was, yes.
Yeah. So you get to draw a card for script practice.
Oh, cool, okay,
And Stephanie's doing script practice today.
Okay.
At noon.
Okay.
So, you'll have a chance to get a couple more, or another card next week.
Now, is that just for the regular, like, scheduled script practices? Like, if we come in and work with somebody on script practice, do the,
I tell you what, if you can schedule script practice on some other day of the week with people, with other people that's in the group, we'll count that too, absolutely. Because if it gets y'all to do it, then fantastic, 5 o'clock, okay, so I'm gonna ask you to hold on to the card.
Okay.
I'm gonna write it down too, but we're gonna ask you to hold on to the card, that way at least someone else isn't gonna get a 5 of hearts from the red deck.
okay,
Because we've got multiple decks, so it, somebody else may end up with a 5, but at least keep it narrowed down this way.
okay.
And what we were talking about just a minute ago when you walked in was the holiday themed Popeyes
Mhm.
that are on there. It can be kind of whatever. It could, we were talking about the puppy chow and Rice Krispie treats or whatever. It could be that, it could be, for all I care, it could be $5 gift cards to Starbucks.
Yeah,
Whatever.
that's a good one too.
With your card attached or attached to some sort of flyer or something. And the goal for the pop buys is going to be, the pop buys is typically your sphere of influence. So people that you know,
Okay.
or a business that you have a relationship with, or that you want to build a relationship with. And the examples I gave were like your insurance agents, or, your favorite mortgage person, or, attorneys. Could be a family law attorney or an estate planning attorney or whatever, because the goal for the sphere of influence is going to be, especially the vendors, is going to be you're referring them business, but they're referring you business as well.
Yeah.
And I go with the philosophy on the referral partners and the vendor partners that I'm giving them way more business than they're giving me.
Yeah.
But that's just, this is how it is.
Mhm.
Especially like insurance agents or like handyman, lawn companies, stuff like that. They're not going to be in a position most of the time to refer a buyer to you, because by the time they get to them, they've already either bought something or talked to a realtor. But that doesn't mean we can't have that relationship.
Yeah.
Because I promise you, I've got a handyman that I've sent him a ton of business. And when he's ready to buy investment properties and start his rental house business, he's probably going to use me.
Yeah. Down the line.
Yeah. And it also makes me look good whenever I send a good repair guy to my clients, or, other people I know, or, I've shared it with other realtors here in the office or whatever. So, it's good to be helpful like that. So with that in mind, we are going to talk about your database again. And in general, I harp on the database a lot of the time because 80% of your business is going to come from people that you know. And the most effective and cost-effective way to generate business, especially for new realtors, is going to be building your database and working with your sphere of influence. And your sphere of influence is gonna be friends, family, old coworkers or current coworkers, people that you know, and people that know you and already trust you. I think when Mo Anderson came to the office a few weeks ago and talked to us, she even said, because she was basically saying, be careful with cold calls, even FISBOs. Because she said there was a couple thousand lawsuits going on involving Keller Williams agents and their brokerages for the do not call list. And some of those I'm sure are frivolous lawsuits because there is a loophole to the do not call list. If you put your phone number out there, you're giving people permission to call you. So that's kind of the loophole on that.
I have a question.
But that doesn't stop them from filing a complaint and or trying to file a lawsuit against
So on our, as you might have heard them say it, the ladies from Arizona, I believe it is, they have a title company there that they get their cold calling list from, that scrubs it against the do not call list. Do we have anybody here that does that? Like they have a title company they work with really good that provides them with a cold call list of people that they can cold call and it's scrubbed against the do not call. Like they already do that work for them.
I don't know about title companies. I think if any title company is going to offer something like that,
It
it's
might have
gonna
been
be-
Leader, I thought it was a title company.
I mean, if any title company around here is going to offer something similar to that, it's going to be First American. The website you guys can go to get registered for is myfirstam.com. And that's a good one for your business because you can create, they have marketing material. You can upload your picture and your info, Keller Williams logo and everything like that. And you can create flyers, you can create postcards. Paula Hendricks, that's in the PC group too, she was telling me yesterday that she got registered on that website and then Tia Hobson got her connected to another portion of the website that they basically have to give you approval to, where you can upload, you can either upload a list for your contacts, so you can create a mailing list of your own for your birthday cards or whatever, but then you can also search for, if you are doing, like you said, you're doing an open house.
Yes.
If you wanted to mail out invitations, it would be a little late for you. You would have to pad that to give enough time for it to be mailed out. But say you're going to have a big open house in 2 weeks, you could go to that address and search for the 25 or the 50 closest houses, create a postcard. What they'll do is they will stamp it as far as the mail stamp, address it, and print it in nice glossy color print and mail it out for you.
Wow,
Yeah,
it is. But you have to get in contact with somebody else to get that.
to get that portion of it, yes.
Okay.
What you do is you go to that website to get registered first,
Okay.
and then call Tia,
Tia.
Teja Hobson, Hobson. And she's the marketing rep for First American.
And what's her, do you have her number?
Um,
Or I just gotta call first and they can answer.
I don't have it on me right now because I don't think she saved it in my phone. I'll double check, but her phone number and her contact info is on their website.
Okay,
But anyway, nope, I don't have her saved in my phone.
what is your phone number?
405-816-9074. That website, the My First AM, again, is a good site for setting up for contacting your sphere of influence. Because you can do social media posts. You can do, like I said, postcards, you can do birthday cards, holiday cards, stuff like that. Obviously, that's gonna cost money, but the social media ones don't cost anything.
Okay, so I thought that was what you did on my KW.
You can.
Okay.
In
that's the same
command.
thing? Okay,
In command, you absolutely can do all of that in command as well. I like to give people multiple resources.
oh,
You're not gonna print and mail.
right, yeah,
They're not-
it doesn't have that part to it.
Yeah,
Right, that's like the free version.
Yeah, the ones in command, you can create social media posts. You can even do a social media campaign where you're paying for like a Facebook to get it boosted.
Right,
So there are paid or paid marketing plans on that. And I believe you can make postcards. I know you can make postcards and hang door hangers and all that other stuff and have it shipped to you here at the office. But as far as I know, command doesn't offer the whole, they'll print it, address it, and mail it out for you.
okay. But, yeah, okay.
Both are gonna cost money. I would think command is gonna be a little bit less because, at least in the beginning, because you're not paying them to address it and put a stamp on it and mail it out.
Yeah.
So if you're gonna do something with command, that's perfectly fine. Just know that you've got to give it enough time for you to get it, you to have, print off the address labels and put stamps on it and then mail it out.
Yeah,
So just a couple different options as far as that goes.
okay.
Again, your sphere of influence and your database is going to be the biggest source of income for you guys, the biggest source of business for you. And again, it's the most cost effective because that is going to be more about building a relationship with someone and getting them to not only getting them to remember you and think about you when they are ready to buy, sell, or invest. But if you build a good enough relationship with them and they trust you enough, they're going to refer people to you. And you'll have people to invite to events. Like we've talked about it before, but you can have an event, a client appreciation or a sphere of influence event. If you haven't sold anything yet, they could be something as elaborate as a tent at a festival, 4th of July party, or a Sooner tailgate, an OU tailgate, or whatever, or something as simple as, hey, if you guys show up, if you show up at this Starbucks at any time between 7:30 and 9, I'll buy you a cup of coffee. Be something as simple as that. Could be a first-time homebuyer seminar. If you are able to, if you do something like that, I would say get connected with a good lender and have a lender side of your seminar. So the lender can explain the loans and qualifications and stuff like that. And then you can explain the basics and, like the process. Find you a house, This is what you should look for. This is what you can expect once you get under contract, stuff like that. And then have the lender do their version, or their parts of the first-time homebuyers seminar. I've done first-time homebuyers seminar. It's been a while, but I've done them. And the last one I did, I ended up selling 4 clients' houses. Now, it took a little bit because some of them, sometimes they need a little bit of time to either save money up or do some credit fix or whatever. So it's an option as far as getting business. So let's see, I took some notes here. I read, did you guys go to the Talk About It Tuesday this week? Okay, so there was a lady that came and talked, or she didn't come, she was on Zoom, but she talked to us about basically about referrals, building your business on a referral basis. And she said she works 3 days a week. That's it. She spends 0 money on marketing and advertising. She doesn't buy leads. She doesn't buy Facebook ads. She certainly doesn't put her picture on a bus or on a billboard, or who else calls me? Oh, the golf courses call me. all the
Man,
time.
I got that one, yeah.
I got the golf course bench.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're gonna.
Yeah, they call me a lot. So she spends no money on marketing and no money on that kind of advertisement. The money that she does spend is on her database, and not only helping them buy, sell, and invest, but building a relationship with them and a trust. They trust her so much that they're referring people to her all the time. Vendors are referring people to her all the time. And she closes several $1 million a year in production. I want to say it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $10 to $12 million a year in production. That's a pretty decent year. That translates $10 or $12 million a year in this office will get you in the pretty elite status. That'll get you invited to the Rainmakers.
Your capper for sure.
It takes about 2.2-ish million in production to cap. And then you're at 100% after that. So, and 2.2 million in production, in my experience, is roughly 45-ish in income for you. So 10 million is 10 times that. Well, not quite 10 times because it's 2 million. So 10 million in production would be roughly, 5 times that. I mean, you're certainly north of, you're certainly north of 6-figure income. That's a pretty good business. Right there. It's a pretty damn good business. And again, she does that, and she works 3 days a week.
Right.
So what is that? I don't know, because I've seen the post that Max got earlier. What does that look like?
Yeah, that was good advice.
What does that look like in more detail, like as far as your sphere of influence? I mean, just.
So your sphere of influence is people that you know, people that know you, and people that you meet.
Is that like the tailgates and the?
Tailgates, people that you meet at open houses, people that you meet at networking events. I would encourage all of you guys to at least join a couple or go to a couple of networking events. Invite someone you know. That way, because to me, there's nothing more awkward than being in a room full of people that I know nobody. That's a little awkward to me, but that's my personality. Stephanie would be in
Oh,
hog
yeah,
heaven.
she's like an extra.
She would be in hog heaven. She would leave that room and know 30 people. Have 30 new best friends. But that's me. And if you have that kind of personality, if you're a high I, fan freaking tastic for you. That should be part of your business plan. Meeting as many people as possible. I mean, meeting as many people as possible should be part of your business plans anyway. But if you're a high I like Stephanie, that's going to be your bread and butter. So I would encourage you in what I did this morning, just to kind of check it out. I Googled networking events near me, business networking events near me. And I think next week, the Norman Chamber of Commerce is having a network event, and there was one more. And then you can also search, if you're on Facebook, I'm old, Facebook is my go-to social media, sorry guys. Sorry, you youngins over there. But you could search for networking events, networking groups on Facebook.
Okay.
I just don't want to, it's a Christian businessman's connection, I think is what it's called.
Yeah.
CNBC. And they meet once a week in Yukon. And then they also have a women's version, and I'm not real sure where they meet, if anybody's interested about religious belief difference, but it's based on religion, but it's business people from the,
Right,
like we do ours with the president of the Bank First Yukon.
fantastic. And I think,
And I know they do their chamber of commerce in Yukon once a week.
yeah, I think one of the networking events I saw, and I spent 3 minutes, I Googled and I searched for a couple things. You know, I Googled it and I went down the list a little bit. I think there's one that Arvis Bank is having this week.
So what does that look like? Like handing out your business cards?
Yes,
Okay,
and
I need to order one.
And
I'm
just,
gonna go
Yeah.
fast.
I mean, yes, handing out your business cards, but
Conversations.
conversations. And what I would strongly encourage you guys to do, if you go to something like that, you should do it with your clients and your sphere of influence in general anyway. But with a networking event like that, go into it with how can I help you and help you build your business attitude. Because again, if you are able to help them solve a problem, or, you know, especially if it's solve a problem, but solve a problem or help them build their relationship or make something that they're struggling with easier in some way. If you're able to help them, they have a better opinion of you, they trust you more. And I got this from, let's see, where did I have it? About building trust, and the more people trust you, the more likely they are to buy from you. And the faster they trust you, the sooner they'll buy or refer. So if you're going to a networking event and you're talking to, let's just say, an insurance agent, and let's just say they are a new insurance agent, new in the business, or they just switched from one insurance company to another, whatever it is. And sometimes you just flat out ask, how can I help you with your business? Because I mean, again, you're going to be having a conversation with them, and you should be, I would say you should be asking them about their business. How's business going? Maybe even get into what's your struggles? How can I help you? And if the newer insurance agent or someone with a new company, if that insurance agent says, well, right now, I just need clients. Okay. How about this? Give me some of your cards. And anytime I talk to someone or get someone under contract, you will be in the mix of, you're gonna be in the 2 people or 3 people that I'm gonna suggest my clients to call, to contact, to get a quote. And not only for new clients that you're getting under contract, new buyers, but I've had people ask me, oh God, my insurance went up $300 a month. What the hell's going on? And, I'm always giving out an insurance agent's contact info, even if it's not to someone that is buying or just bought a house from me. And that's just insurance agent. If you're talking to a mortgage guy. And there is nothing, don't narrow your mindset and your list down to just people that's real estate adjacent or related. Because you never know. That guy that just opened that medical marijuana dispensary and just joined the Yukon Chamber of Commerce, for example, he's got money. He may need to rent a place or buy a retail shop, or like, man, I've got more money than I know what to do with. Well, I'm going to start investing in real estate.
My wife's boss, they do home health, and he's trying to expand his business. So
Yeah.
he's looking in like 3 different directions. Make go on, make it all 3 at the same time.
Right? But again, you never know. That accountant may not, if you talk to a CPA, that accountant may not give you or refer a lot of business to you. But you can be the answer to help solve someone else's problem.
And they'll remember you for it.
And they will remember you for it. Not only will the CPA remember you for it, but your clients or whoever you gave that CPA's info to that helped them solve the problem, they're going to remember you for that as well. And I've said it before, and sometimes it's a shock to people. Being a realtor is about relationships. It's not about selling a house. Houses sell themselves. Basically, you're gonna get to the point where you're gonna realize, I'm gonna show them this house, and they're either going to buy it or they're not. Right. Not my job to say. It's my job to tell them the features of the house, maybe point out some things that they would potentially like about the house based on conversations I've had with them. But it's not my job to sell a house. It's my job to build a relationship and trust. Because again, there's not enough people in Oklahoma City area in general for you to just be selling one house at a time to one person and sell it, forget him, never talk to him again. I mean, you could do that, but you won't sell 40 houses a year. You'll sell 10, 12. You'll work really damn hard at it too. But it's a lot easier, once you've built that relationship, it's a lot easier to sell them multiple properties, or for them to be out there basically being your billboard and your sign, your bench at the golf course for you.
Make a regular time, there's a difference in being rich and being wealthy.
Yeah. One of more profound things I've ever heard Shaq say is when, because he told a story, something about, his kids were saying, how rich they were, bragging about how rich they are and stuff like that. And I think Shaq said something along the lines of, I'm not wealthy, I'm rich. Wealthy is the guy that signs my checks. I make a lot of money, I'm rich, but the guy that signs my checks, the guy that's paying me is the wealthy guy. So that's the difference. That stuck out to me, and that's what I think of it. Yeah, Shaq makes, at one point, he was probably making 75, 80, maybe even $100 million. He considered himself rich, but he didn't consider himself wealthy because someone else was signing those checks for him. Whether that be Nike or the owner of the Orlando Magic or the Lakers or whoever else he played for. So yeah, there is a difference between being rich and being wealthy. So what I would suggest to you guys is when that lady came in, when she talked to us Tuesday, she talked to us about building your business off of referrals and building a trusting relationship with your clients and your sphere of influence and your database. And yes, that database is going to grow, which is going to make your business grow. Some people are going to fall out. New people are going to join your database and your sphere of influence. And again, the way to build that database and that sphere of influence is to meet people, talk to people, get their contact info, solve a problem for them. Maybe something simple, something easy. I need a new insurance agent. Or, God, I got a slab leak and, I got a $1,500 bill from the city for my water bill. I didn't even know I had a leak. What do I do? Here's a couple of great plumbers that I've worked with. Solve the problem. You weren't the one that was digging up the foundation in their kitchen and replacing the pipe or patching the pipe and fixing it, but you helped them solve the problem.
So you build these like relationships over time, like finding a good plumber and all these kind of things. 'Cause I know
Yes.
everybody seems to have like a go-to person.
Right. And there's nothing wrong with, especially in our office, we're helpful with that of asking. Who's
See that on
your,
the Facebook page a lot.
yes, who's your
Yeah, I see that.
go-to? I see all that, and I need to ask because I had someone cancel on me, but who's your go-to plumber? Who's your go-to landscape guy? Who's your go-to tree guy that's gonna actually climb up there and trim the tree limbs and stuff like that? Who's your go-to roofer? I need an appraiser or a measurement company because I need a listing that's coming up. I need it measured. And I had someone set up for today and last minute they canceled on me. So I need someone else.
Well, that guy that come and, that was an appraiser that comes and spoke here with us. Not that long ago.
Aaron, was it Aaron Emerson?
So they're out of Texas.
That was
Appraiser.
that was not an appraiser. That was a home warranty guy. The roofer, Jeremy Hayes, brought him in. And he knows Jeremy. But that was a home warranty company. So anyway, what that lady suggested, And if I could remember her name, I would tell you, but I cannot remember her name. I'm bad with names, especially if it's someone that I've just met on online, Zoom or whatever. But she suggested you read a book called The 7 Layers of Communication. I'm currently reading it. And I'm not really a reader in general. I like books, I guess. I'm not anti-reading. I'm not gonna call you a nerd for reading a book. But it's just not my normal thing. But 7 Layers of Communication. It's a good book. So far, I'm a little over halfway through it. It's not like a textbook, which is what I like. It makes it more interesting. There are real estate books out there that are kind of like a textbook, or do this, do that, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of dry reading to me.
They're hard to read.
They're hard to read sometimes. This one it's got characters. It's more of telling a story. But if you pay attention, you can pick up what they're saying. And I've got the little, one of the little flyers here from it. There's 7 levels of communication, and the higher up on the pyramid you go, the more effective the communication is. So advertising and direct mail and email is informational and the least effective communication. The more effective and the forms of communication that's going to have a higher impact is handwritten notes, a thank you note, or a, hey, it was great meeting you at this open house. I look forward to helping you with your real estate needs.
So you get that because they sign in at the open house with their info.
And you've had a conversation with them, and they've actually given you either their phone number or, the handwritten note would require an address.
Yeah.
Or where they work, and you could send it to them at their work,
Okay.
something along those lines. That requires a little bit more knowledge than the basic, hi, nice to meet you kind of thing, A phone call is going to be super impactful because you're taking the time to call them, talk to them, and phone calls, you can tell their tone. And you can tell if you're making a good impression with them or not. You can kind of read them a little bit better. Events and seminars, like the networking events that we were talking about earlier, when you're in front of someone and you can have a conversation, you can build, some rapport with them, and you can read their body language and stuff like that. And then obviously the most impactful and most influential is going to be the one-on-one meetings. You're probably not going to start off with a one-on-one meeting. That's something to build up to, where you're getting them a buyer's consultation would be a good example of a one-on-one meeting. Get them to meet you somewhere, here at the office, at a coffee shop, McAllister's, kind of whatever, and you're sitting in front of them and you're having a conversation of, and again, most of your conversations with either vendors or someone, a potential buyer or a potential seller, is going to be, how can I help you? If you approach it with, how can I help you? They're going to be a lot more receptive. If you have the mindset of, how are you going to help me get business? even if you don't flat out say, how are you gonna help me get business? People are gonna pick up on that. And they're gonna have, they may not have a bad impression of you, but they're gonna have a less positive impression of you than they would if you're approaching it and you have the mindset of how can I help you? And again, something else that you should keep in mind, doesn't necessarily mean how can I help you buy or sell a house? How can I help you the way so I can get paid? Sometimes it's not always that. That should be part of it, absolutely. And we're in this business to make money and make a living, absolutely. I don't work for free, you shouldn't either. But, you know, sometimes you would be surprised solving a problem or building a relationship with them. Again, they may not buy something, but you would be surprised how could come back to you. And you could be repaid by referrals or, you know, something else where you're gonna make money. So that's basically the gist of what I got. I would encourage you guys to read this 7 layers of communication. I found it on Amazon on the Kindle version for $9.99. And I think the paperback version was $12 and the hardback version was like $14. So it's not super expensive. And in the book, it's got other suggestions for reading and stuff like that. Ways to how to win people and how to win friends and influence people is a good one. I couldn't sit up and stuff like that. Again, I'm not a super Kool-Aid drinker kind of guy. I'm not into reading 100 self-help books myself, but these are helpful. And I'm not going to discourage you from reading a book, something that's going to help, I think. Especially since I spent $10. It's not a super high investment. And if it helps you get in the right mindset or helps you come up with ideas of how to build your business and how to increase your business, fantastic. Maybe the best $10 you ever spent. So, that's kind of what I've got. Do y'all have any questions or anything that you want to talk about?
Last week, we were talking about the financing stuff, and you brought up about that section 184. So that kind of put my antenna up because my son and daughter-in-law have been wanting to buy a house, but his credit score is not where it needs to be.
Okay.
So I told him about this, and so my daughter-in-law is Indian. Awesome. She has the card and everything, so she jumped right on it. So they bank at our best, and so do I. So I looked it up and I said, well, for one, our best is in that program. So she checked with them. The problem is HUD doesn't care what your credit score is, but all the lenders do, even though.
I would encourage them to talk to Angie Hay at Cornerstone.
Okay.
And I can give you one of her cards if you need it. I've got it in my office. I did a 184 not that long ago, and they had somewhere in the neighborhood of a 560 credit score. That's not great credit.
Right, and they still were able to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because again, again, in general, the guidelines for the HUD 184 The credit score doesn't matter. Now, again, for the 184, you can't have anything that's in collections. So if they are, you know, basically if they pull their credit score and they say, oh, well, you know, this has been sent over to a collection agency and they're trying to get payment for that Cox cable bill that you never paid, or the, you know, whatever. If it's in collections, that has to be paid. Nothing can be in collections. But just a poor credit score, that is acceptable.
Okay, well,
So-
I don't think they got far enough along to check any, you know, anybody's credit report.
Okay.
She called our desk and got hold of one of their loan officers. And I think she said, you know, we want to buy a house, but my husband's credit score is not where it should be, but I heard about this program and she goes, well, but we require the 620. So she gave her 3 or 4 others, and Sarah called them and they all said the same thing. Yeah, we require the 620.
So have her call Angie or Perry, Father, and I can give you both of those numbers if you need it.
Yeah, because I'll get that contract if they can get pre-approved, then
Right.
I'll have a buyer contract.
And the good thing about Angie and Perry is if something needs to be fixed on their credit in order for them to qualify for the loan, both of them will give them a plan. Here's how you fix it. Not some lenders will just be like, oh, you don't qualify,
Yeah.
Well, that's.
and kind of hang up on them.
Yeah.
You don't qualify. Click. Call me back when you get your credit score to
Right.
a where I can work with you.
So her name was Angie?
Angie Haig, Haag. She's on the referral.
That's
what she
what she's
looks like.
special.
Yeah, that's what she looks like. I've got some of her cards.
Yeah, I'm getting one of those from you.
So yeah, I would, anybody that you got that's looking at a 184, don't do the 184 directly through the tribe. The tribe will end up with it. It'll end up at Bank 2, or they just renamed it. Chickasaw Nation Bank or something along those lines. It'll end up with, most likely it'll end up with the Chickasaw tribe. But I wouldn't go to them directly. That's kind of like if you ever get into the place where you got someone that's looking to buy a house and they're wanting to use the USDA loan, don't go through USDA directly either. Go through a lender that's qualified for those programs. They can get it done, and they can get it done in a reasonable time frame. The problem with the going directly through the tribe for the 184 or going directly through USDA for the USDA loan is they don't do it very often. They don't do it often enough that they really know what the hell they're doing. It's funny, it's their freaking program,
Right.
but they don't do it as well. Like I've talked to people that try to go directly through the USDA, and after 90 days of jumping through hoops and it not closing, they gave up.
Is that the same with FHA too?
No. Almost every lender does FHA. As a matter of fact, if you're talking to a loan officer and they say our company doesn't do FHA loans, run. Because in my experience, if they don't do FHA loans, it's because HUD and the government said, You're so crappy and so shady. We're pulling your privilege of 2 ATM. Run.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's scary.
Yes, you should be afraid. But yeah, I encourage people as much as possible to use a local lender. Someone that you can sit in front of, someone that you can call with a local phone number. I'm sure Rocket Mortgage does all right most of the time, otherwise they wouldn't still be in business. But nothing is more discouraging to a lot of buyers than to call basically call a call center and talk to someone different every time and get
Yeah,
different
that's
answers, different opinions every time.
I talked to somebody the other day, we were, I mean, just discussing what they were running the boards and things. But they didn't really wanna buy anything else because they were worried about getting somebody who sells their loan. But I mean, isn't that pretty much standard practice? Like
Yeah.
everybody's gonna sell loans at one point?
Almost everyone sells their loans. The only people that's, in my experience, the only mortgage companies or banks that keep their own loans are the smaller banks.
Like the compound thing.
Bank of Oklahoma will keep a lot of their loans. Arvest and Bank First keeps a lot of their loans, but they don't write a lot of loans either. And that's why Arvest said, yeah, we have a 620 minimum, because they're keeping that home,
Well, they didn't keep mine.
right?
They sold mine like a month after we closed. Now, they still maintain it. I
Mhm.
don't know how that works. They still maintain it, but they sold that sucker.
Right. They're still servicing it, so you're still making your payment to them.
Yeah.
But it's really US Bank or someone else
I
that,
don't even know. I got the letter and I looked at it and it said we're still going to be servicing.
So what's the point of them selling it? Like, what does that do?
basically, they're selling that $200,000 mortgage for a certain amount of money and,
Like a discount rate, right?
yeah, discounted rate.
Just so they can have money now?
Yeah,
Okay,
so they can lend it back out.
Right. okay.
There's, I don't know all the rules and regulations and everything, but I'm 100% sure there's something in place that says you can't just lend all this money out and not have the money to back it up. Because
I'm sure there's
I'm-
something.
after all the 2008 debacle and, everything like that, I'm pretty sure the government is basically out of the bailout business. And they should be.
Yeah.
All right. Again, 72 in the script practice. I'm assuming it's going to be in here.